All right, well, keep telling us a little bit more about the church, and if you two want to do this together, that's okay.
I'm kind of waiting till he's done so I can add to it.
Okay, all right, well, that's fair, that's fair. Okay.
Thank you for letting me interrupt.
No, I meant to interrupt 10 minutes earlier, but I missed the cue.
I thought you were gonna ask me something and then didn't.
I was going to ask you about social ministries and other things that the church does.
Oh, he's passing the buck. Thank you
Okay,
very
passing
much,
the buck.
Michael.
Okay, all right. Okay, but you're involved in Bible study and not leadership roles.
Correct.
Okay, good. All right, Mr. Swenson.
Okay, I am currently in my second term as president of Grace Lutheran Church Council. During my term will end in May of 2015. During that time, we have had major upheaval by losing our music director 20 years. We've also gone through a major building campaign, and I have been exposed to both the seamy underbelly, for lack of a better term to put it, and also the beautiful glory of the victory, if you will, that I will call our new building. Our building simply was falling apart, and because the building was so unattractive, any visitors that we would get that would come in would be like, ugh. And they would not come back. Nor were we a very welcoming congregation, very friendly to each other, very nice, but we did not know how to welcome visitors. Visitors would kind of be there, but they were like alone. And Pastor Scott Zimmer and I talked about that. That actually ended up being my internship for PLM, which was to retrain both the ushers and the greeters more so in being more of a welcoming congregation. And that's still proven very fruitful. We're much better at it. One of the issues that we face, one of the big issues that we face, and one of the reasons that we worked so hard to get our new building is the need for some people to be an attractional church. And I'll use that the same way. We needed to attract more people to come to church in order to, very simply, in order to fill the offering plate so we could pay for the building upkeep, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Sorry, that's part of the seamy.
You need to understand
the
that every church that's ever done a building project.
It's part of the seamy underbelly sometimes.
Yeah,
You
just
know,
be truthful.
We even had a campaign that one of our members came up with that was very effective. We called it "What's Our Chicken?" Using a restaurant. Babe's Chicken in Carrollton is in downtown Carrollton. The building is run down. Parking is terrible, but the food is great, and they are always packed. So we came up with, okay, so what's Grace Lutheran's chicken? You know, what is our chicken? What will make us attractive? So we had a very strong music program. We are trying to get back to that with our new music director. We do work somewhat with Metro Crest, although that's an up and down type thing. Social ministries outside Metro Crest. We are a congregation in flux. We are mostly empty nesters and early retireds. Very few young families. I think our total Sunday school population of children is probably 20 at best. You know, I think the confirmation class this year has 4. So it is necessary for us to grow, to survive. Now, that means we have, you know, with the new building, we are still somewhat of an attractional church. And because the building changed so visibly toward the street, people are now finding us. They're finding us not only visually by driving by, because we didn't look like a church before, we now look like a church. Or they find us on the website. We've had a difficult time getting a website to look like something. We are to the point of being uncommon. In a lot of churches are 20% of the people do 80% of the work. A lot of us, and I'm just, not just me as a leader, tend to think we are more like 10-90. 10% of the people do 90% of the work. And it ends up burning out a lot of people, and they can't do all the work anymore. I was also the stewardship committee chairman as I was serving as president. And I finally told Scott, I said, I'm sorry, I can't. I have something has to give. You know, it's too much. So I gave up stewardship rather than give up presidency, although I'm not sure if that was the wisest thing sometimes. But I also sing in the choir. Like Miles, as a PLM, we both preach and preside when Scott is out of town or off. You know, if he goes for more than 2 weeks, like Miles will do 1 week and I'll do another. I'm also in the choir, and I'm an assistant minister and a cantor. And I think the best thing to say about Grace, and Miles, if you can help me out with this to make sure I'm right, Pastor is very much on board, but Pastor is also very much hard-headed that I am right and your idea is not my idea and my idea is best, and I'm going to get it done come hell or high water, pardon the expression.
And that's why I'm not in the leadership. not because I know that about Pastor Zimmer, but because I don't want to know that about Pastor Zimmer. Ignorance is truly bliss.
Sometimes it can be, but you know, we need to. With my role here, which the council heartily endorsed for both Miles and myself to come, is so we can find an identity to become more missional, because we're not sure how. That's where I think, you know, we know we
Come
need
to the right place.
we know we need to be. We have people that do have ideas. Yes, we have our standard kitchen Nazis who think one way, you know. Sorry, right?
We all have those.
I call them that to their face. Oh, it's the kitchen Nazis. You know, they understand it's me too. So,
Also for you.
but you know, they have their way of doing things. Yes,
You see,
exactly.
there is a long tradition of the code of the kitchen.
Yes, of course there is. That's why they're the kitchen Nazis. But you
That's
know,
right, but you gotta remember that once upon a time, that was the only domain they were given.
That's
Okay,
true.
they
That's
couldn't
true.
serve on church council, they couldn't even be a voting member upstairs when the congregational meeting happened. The ALCW had to go downstairs and have their own little meeting downstairs. And so when they claimed the kitchen, they made sure they claimed the kitchen, okay? They came by legitimately.
I make fun of them, but they are very powerful, a very powerful force, because they are, you know, better known in other circles as the fellowship committee. So we are in transition. We are, you know, we think we're going the right direction, and we're not sure, and we're still trying to find our way. And you know, right now, Pastor Scott is leading a a Sunday school discussion that has become, it is more well-attended than normal Sunday school about. It's based on the book, Why Don't People Want to Go to Church Anymore? And, I'm finding that also a very interesting read as to where we are. So we are in a state of transition, trying to find ourselves, what we want to do, or we too, and we realized this a while ago, we too will be like St. Paul's. We will end up closing our doors, and we don't want that. We are telling ourselves that we didn't build this building for us. We built this new building for people who haven't even been born yet. So that's one of the things we're trying to keep in focus, that it's forward. It's for,
Thank you.
It's for the future.
Good. Now I'm gonna close
Yeah,
my
right.
ears because I shouldn't hear what I have to hear about my congregation. But, you know,
Go for it. Go for it.
Nancy was told that when she got here that she could be and say anything she wanted to, and that she couldn't actually offend me.
Well, Ascension is getting ready to have its 50th anniversary in September,
August,
August.
whatever.
It's coming up. We are we're a small church. I don't know how many.
Under 100 members with worshiping between 45 and 50.
Yeah, something like that. Right, currently we're not really having any youth Sunday school. My kids don't want to come anymore. They're tired of having me as the teacher.
Yeah, in our Sunday school, the other kids are so little still.
Yeah, you know, almost we could get, if we get everybody there, we could have a little kids class once in a while or something, but, and like a lot of the other churches, you know, we're mostly aging members. I'm one of the young ones. You know, the group of ladies that meets every week to play dominoes. They just recently switched to doing it in the afternoon because so many of them couldn't drive after dark. You know,
Just
And
wondering.
you can't give up dominoes, trust me.
so,
Glow in the dark domino.
Glow in the dark little old ladies.
we do try though, we're always trying to focus on helping others. I mean, we don't have it set up where so much of our budget or whatever goes for the synod or whatever. We do several large fundraisers every year, and whatever we, you know, profit from, you know, an Oktoberfest or the garage sale, there's a specific place that's what we do for them for the year. And everybody works real hard on those. We help support Good Samaritan of Garland.
Food pantry.
The food pantry. Oh, then just recently, we had, from the sale of a preschool that we had had a number of years ago, we just had recently bought Mosaic, a house, residential home for,
Awesome.
I guess they got 4 guys there?
4 guys and one respite care, so for 5 all total.
In the neighborhood, and, you know, just recently had the housewarming party, kitchen warming party, a couple weeks ago. And
Blessing, yep.
ended up missing that, but it sounds like it went real well, and they even had a few people from the neighborhood show up and, you know, seemed to be okay with, you know, what was going on there. So, you know, we're real excited about that. Everybody's always, I think, willing to get out there and do more if somebody come up with, what are we gonna do? Or how are we gonna do it? You know, we are, when we get people to come to our place, we are a very welcoming church. Had some people come here just a few weeks ago had a little boy about a year old. And while everybody else in the church was busy talking with the adults, you know, my daughter's over there with this little 1-year-old showing him that he can climb up on the podium down the center of the sanctuary. He can get up there and stomp his feet, and the boxes make real lots of banging noises.
Sweet, my kind of kid.
You know,
Well, they all know this, trust me, all the kids in the congregation know they can go up there and they can bounce up and down and make all the noise they want.
You
Yeah.
know, so Lisa was showing the little boy that, and of course, then 5 minutes later, he was chasing her down the hallway.
Yeah.
You know, we keep shrinking.
Mhm.
And haven't figured out what to do.
Exactly. 4? Nope.
Well, I guess I've been on and off. I'm back on the council. I sing with the choir and try to help out with the music and worship committee. Make sure we sing Amazing Grace at least once a year. I have to show up for that, you know, enough times.
Right, but I can still veto a mighty fortress.
Information Sunday, oh, that's terrible.
You don't sing it in German?
No, we don't sing it at all, if I can help it. Horrible hymn.
We'll be going to Ascension.
No, they get a pick on him Sunday in the summer, once a month, then every month, a mighty fortress ends up in the pick hymn bucket. So, yeah, we sing it, because I pick it.
You know, Kurt's been there for quite a while, and we'd had a music director since way, way before even Kurt had been there. And then just about a year ago, we got a new person, because our organist had gotten to the point her health wasn't allowing her to do it anymore. She was 88, she's up there. So now we got somebody back my age and with all the energy, and so the music has been kind of interesting. The choir is, I think, still adjusting. We're still small, but for a small group, we do a fairly good job. And kind of one thing to help out, since we don't have the high school students with their musical instruments to bring in and help out, I actually in the last year have, after however many years, 30-some years after high school, I have picked up and started playing flute again.
Good for you.
So that's been interesting.
Okay. Yeah, and you'll know our new music director because it's Wendy Lee Tedman. Okay, see, she's a member at Calvary.
Yeah, where to begin? Well, let me start with this. We do an 8 o'clock morning service, which is predominantly our older group of people that do not want any changes, period, you know. We do a service at 9:30, which is a little more contemporary, which is the one I like to go to. We do a service at 10:30 in the big fellowship hall, which is geared for families with younger kids and so on, etc. And then we do another traditional 11 o'clock service. And then on Sunday evening at 5 o'clock, we do Kyrie downtown Fort Worth in a bar. And at 6 o'clock, we do our Tuesday service up here. You know, so we got a lot going on. We have a lot of diversity in this church. There's a lot of different groups doing a whole lot of different things, which, you know, people are always looking for something. You know, I think it's a very fertile ground for missional church. I think it's a very good place to begin. Our choir, I used to be able to sing. I can't anymore. The meds I take just make me tired and tear up my voice. But we several years back we went to the Tizé community in France, and this month, March the 27th, which is a Thursday, the brothers from the community in France are going to come here.
Wow.
They're going to have dinner. They're going to do their Tizé service here for us, and then we'll have dialogue after that. That Thursday, and then that following Sunday, which I think is the 30th or something, they're coming back, and we're going to do our Tizé service to show them what we've done. When I was in France, I did there's a thing out on the bulletin board with all the information on it. I came back with a small picture of this large icon of the cross and came back and I made a replica of the one that they use in France. Went to Kinko since I had this little 8.5 by 11. I said, I want you to blow this up for me, 4 by 6 feet. So they did. Put it together, I had to repaint the whole thing because all the colors are out of it. But I do a lot of the icons that we use. I've taught a class in iconography. I've taught classes on basic drawing for the congregation. We have a lot of various groups. We have a chicken ministry where the men.
But is this related to the hairs?
No.
Okay.
We have real chicken.
We never had a chicken.
I'm just pulling your
Yours
leg.
are live chickens, ours were dead on the plate.
And Phil was very good. The men went to him several years back and said, we want to do something with a men's ministry and so on. He said, go do it. Do it. Just go do it. You know, that's the attitude around here. You want to start something? Well, go do it. You know, you take off and go do it. And then we have, my wife belongs with the women's group that does a lot of, where they make quilts and so on. We have a group of ladies that knit, and they're called the happy hookers. That's hard to explain to people outside. You know, well, we got a group at church. We got a bunch of women, a bunch of happy hookers. That gets some interest with some of the groups, you know, when come and see that. But feel a very strong sense with both of our ministers. Pastor Phil and Pastor Kyle are co-ministers. They're not a senior here, they both. And they're very, both are spiritually led. When I went through PML 1, and Phil was teaching the section on, you know, writing the sermon, you know, in the 4 pages, and I said, do you really write 4 pages during the sermon? And he said, no. I said, well, how do you get, he said, sometimes the time I park the car in the driveway and I walk into the building, I get the sermon. Okay, I got it. I understand what you're talking about. You know, and sometimes he'll give it, and the 8 o'clock service gets a sermon, the 9:30 gets a different variation of it. By the time he gets around to 11 o'clock, he's got it all together. You know, so it's a completely different sermon. But there's been times where he's given the sermon, and we sit down and start to say, oh, he gets up, he remembers something else he wanted to tell you. So we stop the music, and he
Trust me, that's Phil.
then we're
Yes.
just, you know.
That's okay.
It's
That's
okay.
Yeah.
Our choir went to France, as I told you back then. We did went on tour and did all this stuff. We sang in Paris. We met with another choir from Minnesota.
Yay.
Yeah, that worked with us. As we went on through France, we went through Burgundy, and we got into Provence, is where near Cluny is where the Taizé community is, and it was awesome. There's about 150 brothers, Protestant and Catholic brothers together. And we went to the worship service in the evening. Our bus driver couldn't drive anymore at night because they're limited to how many miles they can drive during the day. So the brothers consented to drive us back to our motel that night. But they had over 5,000 youth at this worship service. And you could hear a pin drop. It was awesome because these kids are singing in French, they're singing in German, they're singing in Spanish, they're singing in Greek, they're singing in Italian, all at the same time. It's just unbelievable. And then when we would turn around and sit for a time of meditation, unless somebody coughed or something, you didn't hear a sound. These are kids from age 17 through their later 20s, which I thought was awesome. And this last summer, I haven't been able to go because of my health, but the choir went to Norway, Sweden, and Finland, and then finally into Russia to St. Petersburg. We have a seminary, a Lutheran seminary in St. Petersburg, and the whole tour was for 2 weeks to raise money that when they got into St. Petersburg to help the seminary during the time of World War II. Hitler came in you know, and they're fighting, and then of course Stalin comes in and takes all of the staff, all the males, they're executed in the courtyard, the women and children are sent to Siberia. And it wasn't until 1995 or 96 for Russia gave us back the seminary. And so and that was part of it, was to help get the seminary going again. So we're active in a lot. We have an orchestra that plays. And I play on Sunday night, and Victor obviously plays the organ. I play the harp, I have a flute player, usually a violin player, and 3 or 4 voices, and we do the Tuesday service, which is awesome. It's beautiful music. When I am asked to preach, Phil usually has me do it at the Today service. I have a tendency to scare the congregation when I preach. I can't stick to 12 or 14 minutes. I run 25 minutes or so in a sermon,
there you go.
and I get real deep water into spiritual things, and they look at me, my God, what is he talking about? But I love it here, I really do, and I think this is awesome. I can see where we can all help each other. We can all, you know, support each other as we delve into this and learn from each other and where we're going and what's going on. And I just, you know, I'm grateful to be here, and I've been waiting for this to start. You know, it's about choose this book up. I need another book. Get something else to read.
We'll be having lots to read.
Got
Yeah,
it.
yep, we'll be going lower. All right.
Oh, your happy hooker thing reminded me of our website.
Okay, I don't even
Oh,
want to know.
Yeah, you're gonna get me explain
What is
that.
it? What is it?
Faith Lutheran. If you go to Faith Lutheran Church's website, it's the best little Lutheran church in Texas.
The best. Oh,
Best-
I love it.
So we have the stubborn church, we have the stubborn church in Colorado.
Yeah. We'll get the best
Okay,
little
the best
Lutheran
little
church.
Lutheran
Yeah. I love it.
But anyway,
That's cool.
yeah, it is. Faith is a great community. It's nowhere near as big as some of the churches I've seen here, and I'm always impressed, especially with the big churches I've seen here in the Metroplex, like Calvary and etc. Faith probably has an odd dichotomy because we probably have like well over 200 registered members. We worship about 50. The reason why we worship about 50 is because most of the people that are in that community, that 200 rostered part, are military that have come and gone. And so they were here, either grew up here and grew up in Wichita Falls and were there and then joined the military, or they were transient, and while they were here for 2 or 3 years, they joined Faith and stayed and were great for 2 or 3 years, and then they left. So our roles are a lot bigger than what are in the pews. We don't really have enough folks there to run an actual choir. So we really don't have a vocal choir. There are times when they make a concerted effort, like at Christmas time, to put together a dozen voices and try and do something. But other than that, we don't have a consistent choir. On the other hand, we have a consistent bell choir, which is so much fun. It really is. And the people that are involved in that stay involved with that almost all year, with the exception of a couple months in the summer. And so there is that going on. As a PLM, I get a chance to do a little bit of pulpit supply when Pastor Ernie's out and about. But then, like again, I said we've got 4 PLMs, so we have to run a roster. Who goes next? And I told him, I said, you don't have to go on vacation. You can sit in the front row and critique me. I'd appreciate it sometimes. Yeah. That ain't happening. Anyway, so we don't get as much of that. However, I have had the opportunity of doing pulpit supply in another congregation in town that is not Lutheran. So I've done pulpit supply in a Metropolitan Community Church. And that, and their congregation is, although I think probably scripturally really close to Lutheranism, is very different and exceptionally metropolitan in nature. Although they have a tendency to wear a lot of their beliefs on their sleeve, and sometimes that really